The American Center for Law and Justice has been instrumental in advocating for Pastor Saeed Abedini's release. Matt Clark is with the ACLJ and he joins us now from their offices in Washington, D.C. Matt, now that Pastor Saeed is released, are there any legal matters that the ACLJ will still pursue on his behalf?
Well, we got the tremendous news early Saturday morning that he was free. He's now safely out of Iran and at a U.S. military base in Germany, receiving much-needed medical care. And so the fact is, he is now free. He is now released. He will be on his way to America. It's a tremendous victory. The prayers of many millions across the world have been answered. And in fact, our chief counsel, Jay Sekulow, just got off the phone with Pastor Saeed, where he just wished to express to everyone who has really engaged on his behalf across the country and across the world over these past almost 3.5 years, his immense gratitude.
Can you tell us a little bit more details about that conversation that Pastor Saeed had with Jay?
Well, it was a very short call, but he just wanted to express to Jay, to the ACLJ, to the members, to all those who have been praying and been advocating, been signing petitions. Over 1.1 million people have signed petitions for Pastor Saeed's release. And he just wanted to express his immense gratitude. He's undergoing medical care that he's desperately needed, and that will take some time, but he's in good hands.
Can you talk more about the physical condition? How is he doing physically? Has he lost weight? Has he gained weight? How is he physically doing?
Well, now that he's receiving medical care, we expect his physical condition to get much better. I don't have a lot of specific details about that. That'll be left up to the doctors. But right now, he's where he needs to be, and that's the important thing.
Talk about the relationship going forward that the ACLJ will have or not have with Pastor Saeed. Does this, in essence, end your relationship from a legal perspective in terms of representing Pastor Saeed?
Well, the good news is we were brought on board to do two things: to keep him alive as we advocated for his freedom, for his release, and now he is released. And so now we move on to the next case. He was one of thousands of persecuted Christians across the world, millions who were persecuted for their faith, that are in dire circumstances. There are hundreds and thousands who are still imprisoned for their Christian beliefs today. There's genocide going on in the Middle East, and those are the things that we will continue to press forward with as we engage in our international advocacy for the persecuted church.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the role that you guys played in the final days leading to Saeed's release? Obviously, the news that there was some secret negotiations taking place has been going on for 14 months, and they intensified in November, December. Talk about it maybe in the last 72 hours, the last week. What kind of role did the ACLJ play in Saeed's release?
Well, as you know, from day one, within the first few hours of Pastor Saeed being released, we were engaged in this case and have been for nearly 3.5 years, meeting with world leaders, going to the UN, speaking before with members of Congress, helping to ensure that Naghmeh, Pastor Saeed's wife, was able to speak with President Obama in a historic meeting that took place about a year ago, where he promised to do everything he could to free Pastor Saeed. And now, a year later, Pastor Saeed is free. And that's the kind of advocacy that we've been doing for the past nearly 3.5 years. Over the past few days and even hours, we've been aggressively on the phone. We've been engaged, speaking with members of Congress. We've been speaking with the State Department. We actually learned very early in the morning on Saturday morning, there were news reports coming out of Iran. We knew the night before that he had been moved to the Central Intelligence Office, and we hoped that that was a very good sign that he would soon after be released. And sure enough, we heard news reports out of Iran on Saturday morning that he was released, and thereafter got a phone call a couple hours later in the morning that he had been freed. And so we've been staying up to date with the State Department, with the family, pretty much in constant communication with people over 24 hours a day.
Sure. There are, as you mentioned, there are at least 100 Christians that we know of still in Iranian prisons. What should happen for them?
Well, that's exactly right. There are nearly 100 Christians who are imprisoned in Iran as we speak today. One was freed, and that's a tremendous victory. But now we need to continue to focus on all those others that are imprisoned. There was another pastor, Pastor Farthi that was released just a couple of weeks ago. So we take these steps, incremental steps, as we press forward, fighting for the freedom of the persecuted Christians in Iran and across the globe.
There have been a number of key Christians who have been imprisoned in Iran over the years. Clearly, the case of Pastor Saeed Abedini over the last 3.5 years really put the focus, the attention on the level of the abuses of human rights in Iran. How can our viewers going forward, how can they still play an active role in making sure people around the world, including in Iran, who are punished for their faith, find justice?
Well, that's a great question. It's something that we at the ACLJ are going to be critically engaged in moving forward, and we have been for quite some time. Pastor Saeed, as I said, is the face of one of thousands who are imprisoned around the world, as you said, over 100 in Iran itself. And we will continue working through our contacts on the ground there. We will continue working for the other Christians who are persecuted. You take these cases one case at a time and try to bring international attention to them. Just a few years ago, it was the case of Pastor Youssef Nadarkhani, who himself was on death row, and through aggressive advocacy, we're able to free him. So you take these cases one at a time and continue to put pressure and highlight the situation, the plight of these persecuted Christians.
Yeah, okay, terrific. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys have done at the American Center for Law and Justice on behalf of Pastor Saeed. Matt Clark is with the ACLJ. Thank you for your work and your time.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me, and thanks for continuing to highlight the plight of persecuted Christians.
You're welcome. That's our job. Thank you so much.